Let me tell you something. To get strut work done on your vehicle, it costs in the general vicinity of $1,000, and I'm starting to understand why. Holy crap, that was a 8.5 hour adventure. Whew. You know, the old days you had springs and shocks. Replacing the shocks was easy because it was just two bolts. And then they went to the strut system, which is a whole lot better. Spring and the shock are together, bolt on, but it is dismantle the vehicle to get. I had no idea what a nightmare it is to do that, which is why it costs $1,000 to get your suspension with your struts replaced. Woo! That took the better part of 8.5 hours to do. Just swap the front struts. We didn't even do the rear ones. So here we are. Nightmare over, heading home. Holy crap. It's probably fine, but I have an appointment for tomorrow to get the alignment done just to make sure, which isn't cheap, but doesn't bad. I got to pay them a little bit for this next week. But I paid $175 for the struts that I have on here, and paid the price. These are OEMs, which I like. So that was the nightmare for today. I kind of thought we'd have the struts done in a couple of hours. It took a couple of hours to get the one part of the suspension to let the strut go. Requires tools we don't have, sockets nobody possesses. 30 millimeter socket. When was the last time you had a 30 millimeter socket? Had to go buy that. Wow. But he made it happen. I rolled around on the floor. I look like I washed up on the beaches of Normandy right now. But the van is running. Seems to ride fine. I am getting the alignment done tomorrow for good measure. But it rides good. I rotated the tires while I was there. What's this guy doing? Catching rush hour, but I'm going the other way. Just thought to say, hey, hope all is well. Yeah. Not have the bills I have? You mean related to the van? The van doesn't really cost me that much to operate. And I bought it. I put 40,000 miles on this van in, I don't know, 4 months, 4.5 months. And the total maintenance that I've done on it was the battery was original. So it had a 5-year-old battery. I replaced that on the road. I do my almost monthly oil changes myself. And I just spent $175 to get two struts put on, just because the van has 150,000 miles. I mean, as far as bills go, I don't have any. I don't have a house payment, don't have a car payment. I mean, I don't even actually have any bills. It works out good. But yeah, these, when you get miles on these vehicles, they require some maintenance. That just happened to be what this one needed. These struts, that shock, those gaskets, they wear out. But we got it fixed. It just took way longer than it should have, simply because the system is not that friendly. And while I was there, I rotated my tires, and I had to change tire pressure front and rear. And I have my generator that I run to run my air conditioner. I went on ahead and drained the oil, swapped the oil. There's no filter in that. You just disconnect it, basically lay the generator on its side, and the oil pours out into a container. Took a half a quart, so I brought my quart with me, my other half, and poured it in. And you have a little attachment that you use to pour it in. A team of dogs is cheaper. Probably true. And I spend a little bit of money feeding the cats. I keep cat food on board, and I feed cats at the rest areas and the truck stops. And I pick up turtles and get them out of the road. That's what I do when I'm out and about. Ooh, well, that was a long day. I'm too old to be getting up and off the floor and climbing under a vehicle. Anyway, it all turned out well. And like I said, the struts mail order, they cost $175 for the pair. And to go into a shop and have it done is about $1,000. So I got off real cheap on this. And it needed them. It's one of those things, if you don't keep up on maintenance, little problems turn into big problems. If you have a shake, a vibration, or something, and you just ignore it, the vibration or the shake or the wobble is going to get worse. And as it gets worse, it's going to start tearing up more stuff, including your tires. And when I bought this van, I had priced out tires at Discount Tire. It was about $1,000, but almost $1,100. And then there's a local guy here that does it out of a truck. He's got a box truck, and he comes to you. And the trick is he doesn't have a store or a storefront. He doesn't have inventory. You have to tell him what you need. He goes and gets it. Whoa. And the next day he shows up and does it at your house, which was convenient. It was $600 turnkey for the tires. I'm like, huh, you can do that. Do you have the time to just relax for a day or two? Freak me out. Get me my fire. Yeah, this job, I mean, I'm at home right now. I've been at home now I got home Saturday. Gonna probably go back on the clock Monday. Tomorrow's the wife's birthday. But yeah, when you're out on the road, you're not driving all the time. And you get a load, it may be 120 miles, it may be 500 miles. It just depends. And then you get there, and then you're back on the board waiting for something. You might wait a day. So there's plenty of downtime. That's why I joined Planet Fitness. I go there, use their equipment, use their showers, go hang out there. So yeah, you get plenty of downtime. Every once in a while, you get busy, and they'll call you and say, "Hey, when you drop, I need you to go down the street and pick up X, Y, and Z and keep rolling." So that does happen occasionally. And I still have my favorite load I've ever done, which was Niagara Falls. Think about where that is, New York, to Los Angeles. That was my favorite. I left Alaska last week. You live in Alaska? Yeah, that's kind of where I want to go on vacation. I want to go check out. I haven't been up there since the 80s. I like to go up to Alaska. Right on. Yeah, that's my goal. That's what's weird is it is extremely easy to get cargo going to Alaska. It is impossible to get cargo coming out. That's the problem. But generally speaking, they keep us in the lower 48. Oh, and Area 51. I got that one too. That's right, chicken. Up there by the border. Chicken. That's a cool name for a town. All right. So, like I said, it is good God Almighty. It's a 5:45 local. Technically, this is rush hour, but rush hour goes the other way. So don't forget to keep up on your maintenance. You do these things. And it's maddening to have a 10,000-mile oil change on your vehicle, and you have to do it every 4 or 5 weeks. It's frustrating, but you got to do it. That is the lifeblood of your vehicle. So I am currently heading back to the hacienda. I got to give myself a rinse cycle. The wife made an absolute killer lasagna last night. Killer lasagna. Something about lasagna, after it sits for a day, it's even better, which is kind of cool. So left for a month or so, then I go back. Right on. I've met people that have lived in Alaska, and they come down here to the 48, and they've been up there for decade and a half, and they come down here. This comment was, "Where'd all these fat people come from?" Because when you see a gradual change, you may not notice it, but it's just like a light switch on and off. It's like they were like taken aback, which is true. We are, as a society, thickening up. This is this road we're on. This is FM 2854. That's what this is called. FM is farm to market for Texas. And these roads were designated 1 billion years ago. What it means by farm to market is you can legally run cattle, livestock down this road if you wanted to. I haven't seen anybody do it recently, but it is an option. Highway 1 Indian 63. Yeah, Wow, that's thin for 6'3". That's unusual, as a matter of fact. Man, I'm 6'4". If I weighed that much, I look like a concentration camp survivor. Yeah, there's a couple of guys here on YouTube that have channels, and it's women with their impossible standards of what they're looking for in a guy, and it's always got to be over 6 foot tall, which you have no control over. And then the guy's like, "Great, here's a scale, hop on." And then they get mad. Woo, do they get mad? Ooh, I used to be able to get down and work on vehicles and climb around on the ground and do all those things. Not anymore. Like 100-pound pack. Yep. Fuel supply low. Yeah. Uh, we're members of Kroger gas station. I mentioned this morning. We have you get points towards fuel, and we've joined something called Boost. So we get 4 times points, blah blah blah. For every 100 points, you get 10 cents per gallon. Well, for July, we have over 1,000 points. So I get $1 a gallon. I'm sitting here. My fuel light just came on. I got a 25-gallon tank, so I'm looking to save $25 off gas that cost 250 in the first place. So that's a pretty good number. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Yeah, pack 100 pounds for some distance. Yeah, there's a book out there called Bravo 20 about a British SAS guys in the Gulf War, and they equally distribute their weight, ammunition, weapons, radios, and whatnot. Special forces guys, on the whole, are not very large people. I mean, the movies are these giant muscle heads. In reality, they're not. And they had it, that weight is evenly distributed amongst everyone, regardless of their size. And each of them packed 220 pounds of weight and marched through the desert. Like, that's Viking. This is the area I drove through this morning. It was saying that when it floods in this area, where we are sitting right now in the vehicle, we would be nutsack deep in water. And off to the left there, right there is a park. That's completely submerged. And for some reason, this area gets a lot of water when the floods happen. Yeah, I agree. It's all about weight distribution. And what's funny is when you take that weight off your back, you feel like you're going to float away. Because of my physical size, and I worked out in the Gulf, they would have some heavy equipment, and they would have me hauled up the stairs because the guy standing next to me is half my size. They used to do that a lot. They could get my cut. Green means go, people. Still green. There we go. Um, so anyway, the struts on this van went bad, not from abuse or anything, but from just time and age. 150. Right now, I'm looking at 151,000 miles. They wear out. It's like any other thing. Certain parts work quicker than others. I wasn't really thinking about the suspension until the front end started rattling over a bump. It sounded like there were marbles with the front end banging around. It's like, I know what that is. That's a spring with no resistance. Oh, it's almost 6 o'clock. Jeez. I have been gone for 10 hours, 11 hours, 10 hours. Wow. Anyway, I'm going to go home and jump in the shower and do the lasagna thing. The wife and I just got into the second season of Squid Game. So if you haven't seen Squid Games, watch it. It's very, very addictive. It's an interesting idea. Came out of South Korea, the show, and it really reels you in as a viewer. Right. So the shop I was at today was called American Muscle. It's in Montgomery, Texas. They can do anything there, but they specialize in classic cars, building, restoring classic cars, building show cars, pro touring, what is called concours cars. And a concours car is when they're done with it, that's exactly to a T what the vehicle looked like when it rolled off the assembly line. They had one in there. There was a 67 Corvette Stingray. He wanted a Concours vehicle out of it. And he was able to paint it in that garbage lacquer paint they used to have decades ago. It doesn't look very good. And he was literally the only person that could do that kind of paint. That's what the paint was of the era. And it has a 9 millimeter bolt holding the battery cable on, not a 10 millimeter bolt. And it had the Philco battery. And if you got underneath the car, it had chalk marks on the frame because they literally marked the frame a certain way. And it had chalk marks on it. And what they do is they take that car to a car show for that category and they fire it up and they let it idle with a manual choke. And then it's done. It needs to idle. I'm making up numbers here, but it's got to idle at 1700 RPM plus or minus 50. And if it doesn't idle at the proper speed factory, they don't let you bring it in and get it judged at that point. It's got to be that perfect. He builds those. This is a super wide highway here. Pay attention, dude. Pay attention. And underneath, they have parking on our left and on our right here. And that parking is for people that are carpooling on the way to Houston. So your vehicle's in the shade during the day. It's kind of a nice idea. It's relatively new. Let me show you real quick. Over there, see all that? That's all the parking areas they have up here. Good deal. So tomorrow I got to get up and turn this thing in, turn the van in to get the alignment done to make sure it's 100%. And we're going out to lunch at Texas Roadhouse steak place for the wife. Tomorrow is my wife's birthday. She is 57, exactly 6 days sooner than I turned 57. So for the next 6 days, I get to call her the old lady. I rub that in her face every opportunity I get. She always threatens me with, I always ask her what the future is like, and she always says, "Oh, you'll know in 6 days." Maybe I will. Here, got a merge on the road. Sorry about the sun. We're right into it. Yeah, dude, I know you're turning right. Your options are limited. Pretty sure. Lower one. Down the feeder, and we'll be fine. These different things. The road next to the highway is called the feeder. In Texas, in Colorado, it's called the frontage road, and in New York, it's called an arterial. So I'm on the Texas feeder right now. Okie dokie. Well, that was what I want to tell you. Whoa, this is pouring liquid all over the place. Huh. Anyway, like I said, I went in this morning to the shop and occupied his time to get the front struts replaced, and pulling them out and putting the bolt-in ones in its place turned out to be somewhat of a nightmare. The nightmare being we had a hard time getting the suspension to let go, strut to let go to get it out. It was just, they didn't want to give up the ghost. And, we have all the equipment to do it except for that 30 millimeter socket, which I had to go get. But we finally got it done. It's been updated. Everything's been fixed, and it runs. Even though I'm getting an alignment tomorrow, it's right perfect right now. Just want to make sure, because that little bit of alignment can affect your tires. It can affect your gas. Alrighty. I don't know what I'm going to be live streaming again. It may be Monday if something weird happens, maybe sooner. But I will catch up with you guys later.